Don't just tell employees organizational changes are coming. Explain why for buy-in and success. This article explores the critical importance of effective communication during organizational change, emphasizing that successful transformation requires more than simply announcing changes. It demonstrates how leaders must proactively build trust by explaining the rationale behind changes, addressing employee concerns with empathy, and fostering two-way communication throughout the process. Drawing on research and real-world examples, the authors illustrate how transparency helps overcome natural resistance to change by reducing uncertainty and giving employees a sense of control and partnership in the transformation. The article provides practical strategies for leaders to equip employees with necessary resources and training, measure ongoing engagement, and create a collaborative environment where change is viewed as an opportunity rather than a threat. Ultimately, it concludes that organizations achieve more successful transitions when leaders approach change as a partnership built on honest communication, understanding of emotional reactions, and mutual investment in long-term success. Change can be difficult for any organization, but keeping employees informed and getting their buy-in from the start is crucial for a smooth transition and long-term success. Today we will discuss why simply announcing changes isn't enough and why leaders must take the time to explain the rationale behind changes to build trust and pave the way for cooperation. Understanding resistance to change. It is natural for people to resist change, even if they recognize changes are needed, because it forces people out of their comfort zones. Cotter and Schlesinger. 2008. Employees will question how changes might disrupt daily routines or impact them personally. Resistance often stems from uncertainty, lack of information, or simply not being mentally prepared for changes. Colvin and Boswell. 2007. To overcome resistance, leaders must address these underlying causes. Research shows involving employees early and giving them a sense of control allays fears and uncertainty. Armanakis and Badian. 1999. Change agents who clearly explain the rationale, need for change, and benefits help employees understand they have a stake in positive outcomes. Lines. 2005. Without buy-in, well-intentioned changes risk backfiring as resistance leads to less cooperation or even sabotage. Establishing trust through transparency. When employees do not trust leadership is acting in good faith or withholding important details, change initiatives are much less likely to succeed. Hayes. 2014. However, two-way communication can help repair damaged trust and lay the groundwork for cooperation. Leaders should not view change as something done to employees, but rather work with them as partners in improvement. At a Fortune 500 technology company adapting to industry disruption, the CEO held town halls, solicited anonymous feedback, and addressed each concern openly. This demonstrated a commitment to transparency that eased uncertainties. Employees came to see changes as beneficial rather than threatening to job security once fully informed. Personal communication. July 12, 2019. Regular updates fostered a collaborative mindset that made changes run more smoothly. Explaining the why behind announcements while simply announcing changes gives employees notice. Not explaining rationale leaves their questions unanswered. Leaders must clearly articulate why changes are needed, what problems they aim to solve, and where the organization is headed. Without the context of a strategic vision, employees are left to speculate on reasons in unproductive ways. For instance, at a manufacturer dealing with increased global competition, the COO shared detailed analyses on shifting market trends, budget constraints hindering innovation, and how proposed adjustments would streamline operations to better serve customers. Breaking down complex information demystified changes and alleviated fears of job loss. Personal communication. April 5, 2019. Buy-in grew as employees understood their role in ensuring long-term company success. Addressing employee concerns with empathy when change hits close to home with possible losses like autonomy, position, or status quo comfort, emotional reactions are to be expected from employees. However, resistance can sometimes mask deeper worries over workloads, compensation, job security, or how personal goals may be impacted. Dent and Goldberg. 1999. Leaders who take a caring, solutions-oriented approach to listen with empathy go far in gaining cooperation. For example, at a bank undergoing a digital transformation, the CFO held open office hours to discuss concerns one-on-one. Many presumed job cuts were really opportunities to learn new skills as roles evolved. Personal communication. March 15, 2019. Redeploying talent addressed top worries in a positive light that put employees at ease. Equipping employees for transformation focusing only on changes happening without also providing support leaves employees feeling stranded. Transitioning requires empowering employees with the resources and training to rise to new challenges. Bridges. 2009. Leaders must show change as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat. When a healthcare nonprofit redesigned care programs, the COO sponsored coaching workshops on adapting to change in general, and ongoing skill-building webinars. Staff felt invested in and optimistic about mastering transitions for improved client outcomes. Personal communication. June 1, 2019. Providing pathways to thrive professionally minimizes disruption fears as employees gain confidence leading change themselves. Measuring and sustaining engagement. Gathering ongoing feedback through varied channels helps leaders refine communications and ensure buy-in continues as changes take hold. Surveys, forums, and one-on-ones. Identifying where understanding lags or concerns persist allows addressing issues early. Klein. 1996. Celebrating wins and sharing real success stories keeps motivation high. For example, at a global software company transitioning business models, the CEO sent out weekly pulse surveys alongside in-depth monthly engagement reviews. Identified gaps generated employee-led discussion groups that built greater cooperation. Recognition programs also spotlighted change champions elevating esprit de corps. Personal communication. May 10, 2019. Constant evaluation sustains two-way commitment to transformation. Conclusion. In a business environment that demands nimbleness, leaders must recognize change starts with influential change management. Simply informing staff of alterations leaves them unprepared psychologically and practically. However, open communication explaining strategic vision and addressing concerns shows employees their input matters. Providing training and resources empowers buy-in by helping navigate transitions confidently. When leaders acknowledge emotional reactions with empathy and oversight sustains a collaborative spirit. Even disruptive changes can unite an organization in progress. Most importantly, transparency builds the trust fueling cooperation that helps ensure organizational evolution succeeds. In the end, thoughtful two-way communication is key for leading employees through uncertainty into new opportunities. Effective change requires allowing concerns alongside celebrating wins as a team. Leaders who view change as a partnership based on honesty, understanding and mutual development gain devoted problem solvers invested in long-term shared success. Explaining the why behind transitions ultimately paves the smoothest paths for organizational transformation.